So paragraph 2, B, C, and D of the 1 to 4 family contract. Okay. Now, this is super important, you as an agent, because a lot of mistakes are made here on the contract because the seller or the buyer don't understand what conveys with the property and what doesn't convey. It is your job as the agent to read these paragraphs and understand what are in them. There have been lawsuits. Agents have had to pay out of pocket to replace things that are missed because of these paragraphs. So read them. Paragraph 2B deals with improvements. Now, these are the fixtures and the real property. Notice it's highlighted here, that permanently installed and built-in items. Okay. This includes all of these things: appliances, valances, screens. Valances are the covers of the window blinds. Screens, shutters, awnings, wall-to-wall carpeting. Yes, people have removed wall-to-wall carpeting before, believe it or not. Mirrors, ceiling fans, attic fans, mailboxes, television, antennas. Here's one: mounts and brackets for televisions and speakers. When a seller is taking their TV, they oftentimes will take the mounts and brackets, but the mounts and brackets belong to the property because they are permanently affixed to the property. So if the seller wants to take the mounts with them, my suggestion is remove the TV and the mounts before we go to market. Anything the seller's going to want to keep, remove it before we go to market. But if they can't, because maybe there's going to be a big old space on the wall that needs to be filled, if they want to keep the mounts and brackets, then down here in paragraph D, exclusions, right? The following improvements and accessories will be retained by seller and must be removed prior to delivery possession. We might put on there mounts and brackets for all televisions. That way the buyer is aware, the seller is aware, and those mounts and brackets will be removed. When they are removed, the seller does have to fill in the holes and paint them because they cannot damage the property to remove fixtures. So they do have to fix that as well. Okay. Any fire detection equipment, smoke detectors, wiring, plumbing, garage door openers, cleaning equipment, none of that can be removed. Those are all going to convey with the property. Now, remember, any permanently affixed item, even if it's not listed here, is going to convey. These are just common things that sellers have taken in the past. Make sure you have that discussion with them. Accessories, these are personal property that's going to convey, and these have been contention. So mailbox keys, they convey. Above ground pool, it conveys, even though that is personal property because it's not physically attached to the property, it does convey. Swimming pool equipment and maintenance accessories. So that prowler that costs $2,000 in your pool, you can't take that with you. That's part of an accessory of the pool if it is there. Okay. Another big one is window air conditioning units. Window air conditioning units are personal property, but they convey, unless you write down here, all window air conditioning units in the exclusions part. Okay. So make sure you read this. Another thing that comes, that gets lost in all this verbiage sometimes are any software applications, right? Smart homes. If you have a smart home, then all those things are going to convey with the property. I had a client once who had a smart home, and he started to go through the house after we were under contract and started removing all of the light bulbs because they were like 15 bucks each and they were smart light bulbs. And I told him, you can't do that. Those are going to convey with the property. So make sure your seller understands that. They might have $3,000 in equipment and light bulbs and other things in their smart home that they plan on taking with them. If they're going to take those things with them, remove all those accessories with the smart home before you go to market. Okay. If you have questions about this, please get with your manager, get with me, and let's discuss that. All right. And again, make sure you read this and you understand it. Anything that's going to be excluded at the time of contract, make sure you write it in paragraph D here. And then the last thing on here, which is paragraph 2E, reservations. Remember, any type of minerals, timber, anything that is with the property is going to transfer to the new owners unless the seller does an addendum for reservations. If you don't understand that, if you come across it, and make sure you talk to your broker, talk to me. Let's make sure that the seller understands this. If they want to retain anything on that property, then they have to do an addendum. On a 1 to 4 family contract, we're typically not going to run into that because in a subdivision, they don't own the mineral rights anyway. But make sure that if they want to retain them, maybe this is a 5-acre plat that has a 1 to 4 family home on it, there might be mineral rights on there. If they want to retain them, they have to use that. All right. Hope this is helpful. Remember, this is a super important paragraph. Read this. A lot of issues come out of this. You got to understand it. You got to be able to explain it to your seller and your buyer.